We have joined the police patrol in the townships. Wherever we go, everyone runs away because they know they shouldn't be on the streets and they're afraid. The officers on duty seem anxious. They admit they can hardly keep these huge areas under control. The enforcement of the lockdown is anything but systematic. It appears random. This man couldn't get away fast enough.
We're supposed to be in his house. This is a lockdown, and you don't have any reason to be outside. There's a reason why the officer stopped him.
He's been fined for 1,500 rand, about 80 euros.
You have that kind of money?
No, I'm not working. That's why I was going to my brother to take a food.
The man says that during the arrest he was kicked and beaten by the police behind the house. We couldn't verify this from our position. A few blocks away we meet a young woman who doesn't want to show her face. She's afraid she'll be recognized. But she does want to show what the police did to her just for being on the street. She says several officers stormed into her house and attacked her with sticks and whips, and all this in front of her daughter.
It's actually traumatizing because I've never been beaten up like that. I've never. I was in pain like for 3 days. I couldn't go to the pharmacy, couldn't go anywhere because I was in pain. If they're not helping us, and then who can we trust?
The police defend their harsh action in the townships.
If they don't listen, then unfortunately those things happen. I'm not saying it's right. And in some communities, that's all the members of the public understand. They need to see those things, unfortunately, before they adhere to instructions, yes. They need to see that this is serious and the police are not just telling you to go in the house because, it's a willy-nilly instruction.
It's difficult for many South Africans to observe the lockdown despite all the warnings.
Keep your children at home. Wash your hands regularly.
The call for physical distancing goes unheeded in these long lines at a supermarket. Many day laborers simply can't afford to stay home for long periods.
This is the reality for millions of South Africans. And although the lockdown rules of the 3-week lockdown here are extremely strict, many people are simply not able to comply.
Police fear the tension in the townships will worsen the longer the lockdown stays in effect.
Nobody knows the invisible Bogotá like this man. For 15 years, Orlando Beltrán has been looking after the city's homeless. He knows where they meet, where they sleep, and where they get their drugs. With his NGO El Banquete del Bronx, the Bronx Banquet, he provides the destitute with food, clothes, and a shoulder to lean on. But the most important part of today's delivery are these face masks.
Un tapabocas puede salvar muchas vidas.
A face mask can save many lives. The drugs they smoke damage the muscles in their mouths. So it's hard for them to control their saliva, and they may accidentally spit on each other without realizing what is happening.
The coronavirus could wreak havoc among Bogotá's homeless population. But it's not only the limited access to clean water, soap, and medical attention that increases their vulnerability. Misinformation is Orlando's biggest enemy in times of the pandemic.
I heard 20 million people have died in Spain.
I think the mafia is behind it. They conjure up the virus, and then they find a cure. It's all about money. Here in the streets, we have stronger immune systems. That's better than their cure.
Orlando's help is needed now more than ever. Ever since Colombia went into lockdown, it has become hard for the homeless to get money. Begging or collecting metal and rubbish makes little sense when the only people left on the street are those with nowhere to go. With police in charge of enforcing the quarantine, this young man tells us he's often violently chased off the streets.
They tell us to leave, but if we don't, they tase us and beat us. I do what I can to avoid that. I try to collect some money and find a place to sleep.
Those who can afford it escape police brutality in these temporary housing facilities. But sharing a windowless room with dozens of people who roam the streets of Bogotá during the day may well increase their risk of contracting the virus. Under these conditions, Orlando's masks may seem like a band-aid on a bullet wound, but it's all these people have. And even the skeptics wear their masks like shields, protecting them from an invisible menace. The end of the day is bittersweet for Orlando.
I'm sad to leave, but I'm happy because we gave them hope. The hope of us coming back and bringing along the humanitarian aid for the homeless.
He knows it's a stretch, but it's this hope that has kept him going for the past 15 years. That and the smiles on the faces of those he has helped. Smiles he may not be able to see under the new masks, but he still knows they're there.